Welcome to Blockchain. Today, on this episode, we're looking at the relationship between blockchain and the stock exchange. What benefits does blockchain have to offer the stock market? You probably haven't heard many people talk about them side by side before. We're going to attempt to do that today. And the stock market, as it is it's a special space. What are the ways through which blockchain technology can power the stock market? We are going to be joined today by Senator Ihenyen. Now, he is the lead partner at Infusion Lawyers, where he heads the FinTech, blockchain, and virtual assets practice of. He has advised both local and global companies on various areas of law, policy, and regulation, which includes fintech, chain, and data protection, as well as privacy. Now, it's a pleasure having someone like this speak with us, especially since he is the current president of the Stakeholders in Blockchain Technology Association of Nigeria, CBAN. You're very welcome, Senator Ihenyen.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
All right. So just for the sake of clarity, Senator is your first name?
Yes, Senator is my first name, not a title.
Okay. You've probably had to explain that quite a few times.
Very well.
Hmm? Oh, so what's the funniest one you've heard? I have to ask you, what's the funniest senator joke you've heard?
Okay, the funniest experience I've had, not even a joke this time, with my name being Senator, is having to be um, temporarily held by some overzealous bank account officers who thought that I had come to the banking hall to impersonate a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I was kept in the banking hall for about 15 minutes. Um, yes, what in law you call false imprisonment, because they thought that this was a guy who had come to, defraud the senator. Whereas my name is Senator, and that's my registered name in the KYC of the bank. So that's the funniest experience I've ever had, with this name, Senator of mine.
Okay. Oh, wow. Goodness me. I don't know, but I feel like that kind of name also has opened a lot of doors for you and given you a lot of access to certain places.
Yes,
Hmm? You're not
that's
telling
very
us.
true. That's true. That's true. It does. It does, as a matter of fact. It does. If you check my LinkedIn profile, you find that I have a disclaimer already because I have had a couple of letters and invitations come to me because people think I'm senator and this is both negative, positive.
Mm.
Even the Yahoo boys and all those guys
Wow.
also target me a lot because they think I'm a senator. And then I get invitations from the media because they think I'm senator. So I don't want all that. I need to focus on my very simple life.
Well, I am really pleased to meet you. Now, being president of the Stakeholders in Blockchain Technology Association of Nigeria, that's a big leap from we began as blockchain enthusiasts, say 2015, 2016, when the whole of Africa became aware, let's say aware of blockchain. Probably happened before then, but that's when smartphones and the like were more easily accessible, and data became enough for us to even continuously stay online enough to do these kinds of transactions. You need to tell us what your journey was like.
Right. So the journey for me has been a very fascinating one. First of all, I have always been fascinated by disruptive technologies, emerging technologies, new technologies. So when it comes to artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, 3D technology and all of the rest of them. It's something I've always taken interest in. And so when blockchain came as well, sometime in 2009, as a matter of fact, when Bitcoin, the first cryptocurrency, was introduced by Satoshi Nakamoto, I got really interested as well. But I didn't really get to be professionally engaged with the blockchain technology until much later when I had founded my law firm, Infusion Lawyers, in 2017, precisely April 2017. Before then, I was with a law firm where I was in charge of the technology and intellectual property practice. In 2017, I had to look at blockchain a bit more closely, and then it was when we decided to create a practice group, specifically focused on blockchain and virtual assets. It's been a fascinating journey ever since. As you would imagine, the space is still evolving, but there's been a lot of growth and developments at very fast rates happening. I'm very, very fascinated by the technology, not because we don't have other technologies, but this is the first time in the history of man that I think that we have an opportunity to be able to exchange something of value over the internet in a secure, transparent, and traceable manner. It has never happened before without needing third parties. I'm very fascinated about that. It's been really fantastic. It's been very fantastic. Even joining the stakeholders in Blockchain Technology Association of Nigeria, CBAN, where I started out as the legal advisor and then the vice chairman in charge of policy and regulations. Later on, I became secretary, and in 2020, I was elected president. It's been a fascinating journey. It's been also demanding and challenging, but in the most part, it's been pretty a very fine journey, and I can't wait to see where this takes us to.
And I think that is the question. Where is it taking us to? Because there are some similarities between the way the stock market is traded and, of course, digital or virtual assets are also traded. There are many similarities in the way the markets move. We know that the stock market goes up and then it comes down. We also understand the words like volatility rules apply to
Mhm.
both markets. So talk to us a little bit about how we can link blockchain technology with the exchange market.
Fantastic question. Indeed, there's a lot of similarities between the blockchain space, especially the crypto application of the blockchain in terms of assets and the stock markets. We talk about stocks, we talk about shares, we talk about bonds, and when we talk about these things, it's all about capital, managing capital, and being able to invest in stocks or companies that are valuable or are expected to be valuable or more valuable than they presently are in order to cash out, like we say in the blockchain space. A lot of similarities between both. I think in trying to bring them together, it's good to understand what blockchain really is in that aspect from that angle. So if we understand how the internet works today, which is the internet of communication or exchange of communication between parties, right? Blockchain is more of the third generation internet, looking at the exchange of value. It's not about communication now. It's more about exchanging value over from one party to another without any central authority or intermediary between them. And that's really what blockchain is about, being to secure whatever you are transferring to the other person in a very traceable, secure, and transparent manner. Those three characteristics. Now, what is the value we're exchanging? It can be anything of value. It can be stocks, it can be shares, it can be bonds, it can be currency, digital identities, electronic votes, even intellectual property such as intangible assets. These are the things and many more that can be transferred, over the third generation internet called the blockchain. And so, where does it come in the stock markets? In the stock markets, we talk about being able to have access to an open or trading forum where you can trade assets or shares or stocks, right? So it's all about buying and selling. It's all about being able to access the markets and then identify those assets or stocks that you feel will appreciate sometime in the future so that you can benefit from your investments. Crypto works in the same way as far as the application of blockchain in the crypto market is concerned. So we talk about people investing in Ethereum today. Today Ethereum is about $1,500. Bitcoin is about 1,000. It's about $20,000. You look at stocks as well, like the Nigerian breweries or other stocks. Talk about Apple stocks or Tesla stocks. People, while assets is still not as high as they expect or speculate it will be. So it's all about access to a market where you can invest and take out value or cash out profits. Where blockchain can really help in terms of the stock markets. Today, the stock market it's not as accessible that we would expect it should be in 2022. The stock markets, there are issues around how complex it is to play in the stock markets. There are issues around the number of intermediaries, stockbrokers, issuing houses, and all of them, even banks. There are too many players in the stock markets, and so this pushes cost in that space. Also, there are issues around lack of transparency in the space because, of course, data is centrally managed by a central authority whom you must necessarily trust. You just have to trust this person because they're the broker or they are the issuing houses or they are the banks. You just have to trust almost blindly. These are the things going on in the blockchain that's stock markets. Of course, to talk about things around regulation and compliance, very cumbersome stuff. If you ask anyone today who plays in traditional stock markets, what it takes to play in that market, it's pretty cumbersome to be able to meet the regulatory and compliance requirements to get a license to play in that space. All of these things end up cumulatively pushing up costs in that market and making things a bit too many middlemen, many middlemen. We do not have investors who have direct access to those who need funds, right? And for the blockchain technology, this is where things can really be revolutionized, not in terms of disrupting the traditional financial system or traditional stock markets in a way that it is all gone. Not at all. It's all about enhancing what we already have. And when we talk about enhancement, blockchain can bring transparency to that space. Blockchain can bring accessibility to that space. Blockchain can bring accountability to that space as well. And of course, blockchain can bring security into that space in a manner that you no longer have to rely on a central or a single point of failure when it comes to data and how data is stored and all that issue, right? So these are all the issues. Just an
The way
overview.
it's sounding, the way it's sounding like there's a possibility, a strange, minute possibility that blockchain technology could replace the stock market. Do you believe this is possible? Now, this is like just throwing a question out there and trying to figure out what sticks. But do you think it's actually possible? You mentioned the issue of needing transparency. You mentioned the fact that there are two middlemen. This was basically the basis for the development of this technology in the first place, to get rid of the middlemen, to give you more access, to give you more control, and of course, the issue of trust, it being open ended on both sides. Talk to us.
I have to agree with you that to a significant extent or considerable extent, there will necessarily be a level of disruption in that space that appear to make certain players in the stock markets today, as we know it, almost, I would say, dispensable. And that's the essence of innovation. Innovation is to change, how things are for the better. I would like to say this. The reason why we have all of those middlemen, the issuing houses, stockbrokers, the banks, all of them play in that space is because there was an issue of distrust in the first place. It was a problem of trust. As soon as that problem of trust was seen, the solution we had from the traditional system was to have more persons playing, rather than having a direct relationship between investors and those companies being invested in. We had to bring in the lawyers, the stockbrokers, the banks, the issuing houses, the regulators, all that into the system so that we can deal with the issue of distrust. But blockchain, has been described as a trustless technology. Trustless, not because it doesn't need trust, but because we no longer have to trust the middleman, or the intermediary or the central authority to be able to carry out transparent, safe, and traceable transactions. All we now need to do is to trust in the code, the algorithm, the smart contract that's been created to ensure that rights and liabilities are automated or pre-programmed into the code. So blockchain should be seen more as a friend, bringing transparency, bringing accountability to that market, not as some kind of a disruptor that should be denied access to the market in any way. If we do not realize this early enough, then I fear that our worst fears might come true. And what is our worst fears? Our worst fears is that those intermediaries who play in the stock market today will be rendered relevant. They may be rendered relevant if they do not quickly start understanding, appreciating the relative and comparative advantages that blockchain technology provides in order to help improve their own work and their own processes and their own procedures and their own controls. If they do not step up right now and take on that challenge, it is possible that the stock market may be replaced. How do I mean by that? We already see that amongst the young generations or the younger generations, great interest is going towards crypto assets, towards Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, XR, all the rest of them. There are thousands of them out there. If you count Nigerians right now who are invested in the stock market and compare Nigerians who are now investing in the crypto market, it's a parallel. It's a parallel. There's no place of convergence. And that's risky because if we allow that continue to be so, we find that the young generations who were born into this age of the internet, they will not even recognize the need to look at the traditional stock markets before they jump head on into the crypto markets. So there needs to be a point of convergence, right, between the traditional players in the stock market today and the new players coming on board. I mean, if you understand what blockchain is, it has also brought
Yes.
in some,
Yes.
some level of decentralization.
New millionaires, and of course, when we say new millionaires, it possibly felt or sounded almost impossible for certain sectors of society to ever see the kind of amounts of money. I'm going to use the word money now, the kind of value that they eventually earned over time. And it felt like that was the reason why, because of the lack of understanding, that was the reason why the so-called in quote ban came up. Now, you are a lawyer, and of course you um, are representing your law firm with regards blockchain and virtual assets practice as well. So from a legal standpoint, let's talk a little bit about the so-called ban that happened. I think, was it last year or was it in 2020? Last year, 2021. And let's
Last
talk
year,
about the,
February
it was last year.
2021.
And let's talk a little bit about this issue of confusion. Was it banned? Wasn't it banned? Is it crypto that was banned, or was it blockchain that was banned? Was it the technology that was banned, or was it connecting with people who had used the technology before that was banned? You know, a lot of people had a lot of different varied opinions, but once they saw the word ban on it, they just assumed ban equaled bad. So please let us in onto into what exactly happened back then from a legal standpoint.
Thank you very much. This is a very vital, this is a vital question. Um, First of all, when the Central Bank of Nigeria started taking interest in the crypto and blockchain space, it was from a point of view of risk management. It was from a point of view of preventing the use of cryptocurrencies for money laundering, terrorism financing, scams, fraud, and other illicit transactions. On that, from that point of view, I think the central bank has the support of players in the industry as well as other stakeholders. Because as the central bank, it needs to ensure that Nigeria's financial system remains safe, stable, and secure. Having said that, the Central Bank of Nigeria's very first intervention in the crypto space in the country was sometime in January 2017, when the central bank precisely stated that the adoption of cryptocurrencies has been noted and that cryptocurrencies are not legal tender. In other words, they are not currencies that are issued by the central bank of the country. Therefore, there are risks that people need to be aware about. The central bank then warned that persons who might be getting involved in that space should be very careful. It then required specifically that the banks and the other financial institutions who are regulated by the CBN do what? They should adopt anti-money laundering and combating or financing on terrorism compliance requirements or mechanisms to be sure that whoever is involved in cryptocurrencies, whether as a crypto exchange, a trader, whatever, they must be KYC. This was central bank in 2017, January. In February of the next year, 2018, when the central bank realized that the adoption of cryptocurrencies had continued on and on, it then warned that, hey guys, we are not the ones issuing these cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, all the rest of them. Be very careful. If you carry out transactions in this way, it is at your own risk. This is the Central Bank of Nigeria, 2017, 2020, 2018. What changed in 2021 is the question. Why did the Central Bank of Nigeria see the need to effectively abandon its policy on crypto in the country to say it is now time to shut down Nigeria's banking and financial system against cryptocurrencies? That's the question we should ask, because it is the same institution that had seen the need to focus on AML and CFT policies in accordance with Nigeria's written laws. Nigeria has a terrorism law act. It is a law made by the National Assembly. There are requirements there. If you are playing in the financial system, you must KYC customers and all of that stuff. Central Bank realized this. Also, we have the Money Laundering Act, right, which also requires that if you play in that sector, you must comply with certain policies. Now, why did the CBN effectively abandon those two and focus on ban? The 2021 ban, precisely 5 February of 2021, the central bank issued a directive to all banks to effect down the entire banking system against those who are involved in crypto-related transactions. The reason for this, according to the CBN, on when it was response was on February, I think 7th February, was that crypto is used for money laundering, for terrorism financing, for scams, and for fraud. And we agree with these things. But what does this mean? The confusion is this. People think wrongly that that ban, quote unquote, is a ban against cryptocurrencies in the entire country. That is not true. The true position is this. The central bank has only said that cryptocurrency related transactions must not be facilitated by banks and other regulated institutions in the financial system. That's what it said. But in terms of crypto transactions outside the banking system, they can still go ahead. They are legitimate. That's why, even after that ban by the CBN, peer-to-peer platforms where people could buy and sell crypto to one another grew by over, I would say, 50% or more, because people moved away from the banks, the centralized institutions, and moved into decentralized platforms and P2P platforms. So there is no such thing as involving in crypto transactions or cryptocurrency is now illegal in Nigeria. No, very false. Involving in crypto in Nigeria is lawful. Even other agencies like the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has come out to make this very clear as well, that it is not illegal or unlawful to involve in crypto transactions. It is what you do with the crypto that may be illegal if what you've done is illegal. It's as simple as that. And I'm very happy that the central bank itself, through one of its deputy governors, had to come out sometime in 2021, I think it was October, to clarify that the CBN did not ban cryptocurrencies in Nigeria. What we did is to restrict crypto transactions in the banking and financial system. In any other way that cryptocurrency transactions can be facilitated, you can go ahead and do your business. So as we speak today, the growth or adoption of cryptocurrencies in Nigeria has grown big time. It has grown more than anyone could have imagined. Nigeria is one of the leading markets in crypto adoption, globally, and that's a very serious thing to look at, because if we are going that far, as a regulator, do you want to abandon all that and expect that it will go away? I don't think it will go away. I think crypto has come to stay.
Honestly, I don't think I could have had anyone else put it better. Uh, how you said it and what you've said. has broken down hundreds of conversations I've had over the past 1.5 years on this actual present situation, and a lot of people still have the only word I can think of is doubt. And the doubt is no longer reasonable doubt, to borrow a legal term there. It's no longer reasonable doubt because it has been here for quite a while now. And there was something I saw on the site. It says here that just like artificial intelligence. Let me scroll that by. Just like artificial intelligence, big data, Internet of Things, blockchain, uh, there's no law or regulation required to make blockchain acceptable in Nigeria. In any case, the Federal Ministry of Communications and the Digital Economy, through the National Information Technology Development Agency, has publicly, or rather published, a national blockchain adoption strategy that recognizes blockchain tech in this country. So it is recognized, it is legal, and we have Senator here giving it to us from the legal standpoint, and he here is representing the CBAN, that's Stakeholders in Blockchain Technology Association of Nigeria. And I have to say thank you so much for taking our time to talk to us about this, because it was one of those conversations that just had to be had on this particular show. Now, there's still so many questions I want to ask, especially with regards to the stock market, because the stock market is so heavily regulated. I want to say heavily regulated. Every different type of stock, equity, commodity has a different regulation, a regulation representing that country, that state, representing West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, Asia, the way stocks in Asia can be traded in the US, the US stocks can be traded in. There's just so much regulation on it. And we did say we were talking about the stock market and blockchain. So how does blockchain work when it comes to trade finance? Settling trade, especially across international borders, is so easy for blockchain transactions, which is basically peer-to-peer finance, or maybe even we could even edge into NFTs and trading of um, tokens. But when it comes to the stock market, it feels almost impossible to get rid of all that regulation. What do you think?
Yes, you're right. The stock market is typically very, very cumbersome from a regulatory point of view or compliance point of view, and this has led to the inaccessibility that we continue to talk about. We talk about financial inclusion, and we don't seem to appreciate fully how the stock market, can play a very significant role in terms of financial inclusion. I'll go back to sometime in 2021 when the Central Bank of Nigeria disrupted the digital, they call it digital stock or digital platform for stock trading in the country. It disrupted that very nascent sector because it felt that there were things going on in there that shouldn't be going on. First of all, it said that a number of digital platforms were offering customers access to trading in foreign and local stocks were not compliant with regulation. They were violating Nigeria's foreign exchange laws by getting involved in forex. They also said that you can't get involved in foreign stocks when you are in Nigeria here. Uh, Thankfully, the Securities and Exchange Commission, relative to the CBN, I have to say with all due respect, has been a bit more, more receptive, more accommodating of new innovations and trying to see how they can leverage disruptive technologies to open up Nigeria's capital markets. Not surprisingly, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission in Nigeria, was the first agency that created what was called the FinTech roadmap, where it called industry players to come together and look at where we're coming from, where we are, where we're going as far as disruptive technologies, including blockchain and cryptocurrency was concerned. And not surprisingly, in 2021, precisely in May 2021, the same Securities and Exchange Commission was the first Nigerian agency, government agency, to ever recognize virtual asset service providers, as players or legal sector in the country, and that's really fascinating. Of course, the licensing requirements and whether it's cumbersome or not, it's for another day. But the fact that we can have a regulator such as the SEC recognize that crypto assets must be regulated and have crypto exchanges, how dare come get a license in Nigeria. It's very commendable. And so when it comes to blockchain, cryptocurrency, even virtual assets generally, we think that there is a massive opportunity for Nigeria and other African countries to open up that door. I mean, for me, I don't know what others are thinking. For me, I always think that regulation shouldn't be all about having a prohibitive and restrictive approach to what they are supposed to do. I also think that regulation is an instrument for development. There's what you call developmental regulation. I think that our political leaders may have failed to have a vision for that aspect so that regulators will be able to be partners to political leaders as far as having countries like Nigeria leverage disruptive technologies is concerned. In 2022, by now, we should already be very clear about what we want to do with crypto assets or cryptocurrency. We should be very clear. Some of us that do not expect that the Central Bank of Nigeria will make Bitcoin a legal tender like some other countries have done. No. But what we expect is that the central bank would allow other regulators to regulate that space, like the SEC to come in and regulate Bitcoin as a crypto asset. And then when it comes to the use of crypto assets for banking and financial services, banking services, we can have the central bank come in to say, okay, guys, USDT, for instance, is a stable coin. People use this a lot to get in and out of the crypto markets. As the Central Bank of Nigeria, we're concerned about the use of this currency, and we would like to regulate it. In other countries, such as the US, they're already looking at stable coin regulation. Why? Because with stable coin, Titi, I can sit right here and send you any amount of US dollars, all right, wherever you are, at the snap of my fingers, without needing any bank or intermediary. I mean, if you begin to think about the Western Unions, the MoneyGrams, and all the rest of them, you see that it's not easy playing in that space if you want to remit or send money. I mean, if I want to send money to my friend in Kenya, it's more expensive than sending money to London. I mean, in 2022, we shouldn't be having these kind of conversations and frictions. By now, we should be leveraging technology to enable international or cross-border payments. I'm happy that the central bank is already looking at e-Naira, which is a central bank digital currency. The initial reaction so far is not too surprising. We've not seen the level of adoption we would have expected in a country of over 200 million people. But I think this was to be expected. I don't think anyone, including the central bank, should have been surprised that it's not getting out there yet. I think it's all about going back to the drawing board and having multi-stakeholder engagements. Titi, I think that that is lacking in our regulatory system. I do not think that it is ideal to shut down, players or innovators when we feel or suspect or see that they may be violating laws. This is the time to engage or regulate, innovators in the space. From I don't want to start mentioning them, but we know fintechs in
Of
this
course,
country,
of course. They've been
who
struggling.
need to
They've
be
been struggling.
engaged.
Mm.
Yes, they've been
They've
struggling.
they've been having challenges, even the basic transactions and even just basic withdrawals.
Yes,
Quick payments that shouldn't take that much time. It does feel like they're being stifled,
yes,
uh, over regulating. Let's put it that way, because some other people would use other words, but I don't want to start, throwing blame in different directions. Even though uh, it is very very likely very painful for these. I'm going to say young people who are putting a lot of effort into making sure that we are tech tech compliant. Now
mm,
I'm thinking about I know that we've been talking for quite a while, and I know you have a very busy schedule. But while we have you here, it just feels like um, it's a human beings' wants are insatiable, right? It's kind of it could be a claim, it could be a fact. Um, what role do you think blockchain can have in actually stabilizing the economy? Now we've seen the naira, rather the naira against the dollar. Uh, it's I don't even want to. We understand what's happening in that particular area. We might not even
mhm,
actually have a full
mhm,
understanding of what is going on, why the dollar is climbing so high, and there is this whole mindset of the rich wanting to keep getting richer and for there to eventually not be a middle class. Now, with the advent of blockchain technology, it does feel like there is, or maybe before the ban was hope of this leveling out the economy. For instance, there are some people that are of the opinion that if certain percentages of GDP of certain areas were put into blockchain technology or put onto the blockchain itself, it had the potential to stabilize the economy of certain countries, depending on, of course, the population of those countries. Let's just put it that way. But
mm.
talk to us about the role you feel the blockchain tech might play in strengthening our economy.
Thank you very much. It was sometime in 2019 that stakeholders in the industry, blockchain industry in Nigeria, began to have conversations with the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, about the role that blockchain technology could play in Nigeria and the need for the Federal Ministry of the Digital Economy to embrace blockchain technology for the purpose of applying blockchain across critical sectors of the country. This brought about what is known today as the National Blockchain Adoption Strategy, which is supposed to be some kind of a policy document for blockchain as far as Nigeria is concerned. I remember I was one of the delegates to Abuja when a public forum was open for the purpose of engaging people and stakeholders about that national blockchain adoption strategy. Something was very clear on that day. It was clear that blockchain technology was not a technology to miss. It's bringing a whole lot of opportunities across various sectors of the economy. Ironically, sometime in I think 2018, early 2018, in industry players had this engagement with the Central Bank of Nigeria about blockchain and the role it could play. And the central bank back then, did say something, at least the representatives there did say that what role central bank would like to play is to see how it can leverage blockchain technology to grow the Nigerian economy across critical sectors. They identified sectors like the agricultural sector, the health sector, the education sector, and what have you. And it was pretty fascinating. It was exciting to hear the central bank talk about blockchain in this manner. But by the time the central bank acted, because of one single application of the blockchain, amongst many other applications, we seem to have, now confused the potential and powers of the blockchain technology with the cryptocurrency, which is just one application of the blockchain. So for me, I think that, and I believe that blockchain technology has a lot of opportunities to offer this country. How is it going to do that? We need to look at critical sectors, for instance. We've talked a lot about the agricultural sector in the country and how it is supposed to be, or it is still, the biggest employer of labor in the country. How far have we been growing the agricultural sector? Amongst the members of CBAM today, we have innovators who are already applying blockchain in the agro sector to solve frictions in that space. One of the biggest frictions in that space is access to finance, and also how to be transparent about resources being put there. We need to look at how blockchain can bring about that transparency in that space. We also talk about, you talked about the economy, like growing the economy. Let's move even to the financial sector, where blockchain has the most, I would say, has the biggest influence or impact. I do not subscribe to the conception that, for instance, crypto is Nigeria's problem. I don't subscribe to that. It is true that when the Central Bank of Nigerian Governor Emefiele, was before the National Assembly sometime in 2021 to explain why it banned crypto in Nigeria's banking and financial system, he did mention that crypto was a problem, and because it is used for money laundering, terrorism financing, and all that. I think that if you follow Governor Emefiele recently, before the Monetary Policy Committee meeting that held in Lagos some few weeks ago, the same Governor Emefiele has come back to say there may be need for the CBN to review its monetary policy to ensure that the Central Bank of Nigeria is leveraging new and emerging technologies, including cryptocurrency, he said, including cryptocurrencies for the purpose of creating jobs in this country. So that is Governor Emefiele this year, after about 1 year of shutting down the banking and financial system against cryptocurrencies. So if that is coming from the central bank, it is of no doubt at all that crypto and blockchain has a role to play as far as innovation and development is concerned. What is the issue? What we say the problem is the problem everywhere. It is how you are able to respond to this problem that matters. For CBAN and other players in this space, we have recommended that the central bank should simply adopt anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism mechanisms or compliance and procedures in order to be able to check that space. Crypto is an innovation. I always say this, crypto is FinTech. You don't ban FinTech. No one bans FinTech. You don't ban a technology. If you give me a knife and I use my knife to cut onions and make good suya, and someone uses the same knife to stab someone, What do you do? Do you ban the knife? Of course not. That would be ridiculous. What you do is to ensure that you have procedures, processes, laws, and rules in place to ensure that whoever uses knife to kill anyone or to stab anyone, you face the consequences. Anyone who uses it to make good suya with nice onions and spicy ones, you have a good day. So that's what we should be doing about crypto. Crypto is bringing a lot of opportunities. The SEC is already saying crypto is an asset. So Nigeria needs to look at that and open up the Nigerian capital market in a way that cryptocurrencies can also be traded. We should be seeing it. There are some media agencies who already put it out there. The same way you look at stock markets, look at the crypto market as well. It's coming up. We need to bring it mainstream. It's a regulator's place to ensure that it gets to the mainstream with the least disruption as possible. It is not for the regulators to create the others to get there. All right. So there needs to be more engagement, I would say. We have a whole lot to do. As a consultant, I have to say this. A number of foreign investors are interested in Nigeria's blockchain and crypto industry. They want to come here. They want to create, set up businesses, offices, employ our people. Right now, because of the way it is in the banking and financial system, as far as crypto and blockchain is concerned, it's scaring investors off. And guess what, Titi? The biggest losers is not them. The biggest loser is Nigeria.
Mm.
Because when they go back to their countries, guess what they still do? They are still able to access our markets. It's simply using the internet. So rather than allow them access the market from Cayman Island and Jamaica and what have you, how about you set up, what's it called, hubs in Nigeria where they can easily set up, right? Lagos, Jos, wherever, and bring in foreign direct investment. That's how to cure the naira dollar issue we have. It is not by, some of the things the central bank is doing, I have to say, they've been doing a lot of work. As a matter of fact, I do not think that if the central bank wasn't doing well enough, I don't think that by now we'll still be looking at 700 naira to a dollar. By now, we
Mm.
should be looking about over 1,000 naira to a dollar. So kudos to the Central Bank of Nigeria. But we think that those things they've been doing, they are not fundamental enough. The fundamental changes that we need to get Naira back in business is to look at creating new windows of opportunities for both local and foreign investors to come in. Nigerians are making money every day over the internet. Dollar is coming into this country. What you need to do is to ensure that you have the youth well engaged, and all of these kidnappers and insecurity issues will gradually disappear. I mean, that's what we need to do. And I have to use this opportunity to challenge our political leaders. Please, right now, Nigeria is bereft of vision. When there is no vision, everyone works in silos. What I've noticed is that regulators are forced to be the visionary and also the regulator. That's a very, very difficult job to do. They need the political leaders to set the vision, set the agenda, and then the regulators will be able to bring up the instrumentalities and mechanisms that is needed and the frameworks to ensure that all of Nigeria's potentials are harnessed for the good and well-being of every Nigerian, local, whether global or local. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Senator Ihenyen here. He's the president of Stakeholders in Blockchain Technology Association Nigeria, CBAN. It's been a pleasure having you on the show today. It's been blockchain. We've been talking blockchain and the stock exchange, and a lot more actually. We've gone full circle, and we've been able to touch on some certain issues. Of course, we like to open up the chat space. If you have any questions or contributions, please put them in the comment section. We will be able to respond to them as soon as we can. But I have to say, thank you. so much for doing what you could to break it down for us. I know you probably do this all the time, but for us, this is a very unique opportunity to pinpoint some major issues. So those questions are still there. A lot of whys and why nots, but the fact, or let's say the claim now, is that our wants are indeed insatiable. And everyone seems to want to stay at the top of the food chain. Now, blockchain can be your fast forward to the top of the food chain, but the same way we just keep avoiding these opportunities. It has happened so many times that you have opportunities come your way and you let the train leave the station before you jump on. Senator, disclaimer there, his first name is Senator. Let me say that again. His first name is Senator Ihenyen here. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure being a part of this. I hope that I get to come back once more sometime. So.
Yeah, we have a question. Don't worry, topic plenty. We will be calling on you to help answer some questions soon enough. Wow. Okay. So as conversations go, this was a lengthy one, but we did have to cover so many areas that are often avoided in conversations and maybe hidden in some conversations online. Now, there is so much in the legal space that a lot of people don't understand, which is why we invited Senator Ihenyen to come and clear some aspects up. He is the lead partner at Infusion Lawyers, where he heads the FinTech, blockchain, and virtual assets practice of the law firm. He has advised both local and global companies on various areas of law, policy, and regulation, including FinTech, blockchain, data protection, and privacy, and related areas of information technology. Now, a tech lawyer with interest in policy and regulation, Senator is currently the president of the Stakeholders in Blockchain Technology Association of Nigeria, CBAN. I do believe he's available on LinkedIn, Senator Ihenyen on LinkedIn, and I will be they don't say follow on LinkedIn, right? I will be connecting with you very soon online so that we can continue this conversation. So until next time, when we come your way, happy trading.